Hello, everyone. Welcome to SheRises Stories of Resilience Global Conference, a groundbreaking event where the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs come together to ignite your passion and drive. Join us for electrifying conversations and riveting stories from visionary men and women who have redefined their lives and businesses with extraordinary resilience and purpose. Experience firsthand how these remarkable individuals have triumphed over adversity, sparking innovation and compassion to create transformative insights and profound impact. This is your chance to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. I'm your host for this event, Kelly Boyer, and today I'm excited to present Ken Lloyd. Ken is a spiritual guide and healer who, after a profound near-death experience, integrated 22 soul aspects from his higher self and oversoul collective into his physical body. This union allows him to channel higher frequencies and transmit powerful ascension and healing codes to humanity using light language that is conveyed from his collective. Ken contains a 580-foot omnidirectional healing field that catalyzes individuals who enter it, accelerating their healing and spiritual growth. This energy field promotes profound transformation, helping people release energetic blockages, balance their energy fields, and activate their higher consciousness. Specializing in removing energetic blockages and unlocking dormant DNA blueprints, Ken accelerates spiritual growth and facilitates the awakening of individuals' unique gifts. Within Ken's holographic field can be found the Library of Creation, where he accesses and releases dense energy programs, the root causes of discomfort, and empowers his clients to realize their full potential beyond the limitations of human experience. Today, Ken will be discussing how he went from a near-death experience to 22 walk-in souls, healing thousands. And Ken, I'm so excited to have you here with us today and being part of Story of Resilience. I just want to welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here as well. I've been looking forward to this for quite a little while, right? You know, it's not often I have an opportunity to talk about the bridge between my entrepreneurship and how I moved from there into my spiritual purpose or mission or desires, whatever word you want to use. So my background before my experience happened was cybersecurity. I taught myself how to write software. I taught myself how to start a business, and I've created 3 cybersecurity technologies. I'm one of the original antivirus creators, anti-spyware creators in the early 2000s. You'll find my name nowhere. But this was my legacy. And so 3 companies, 3 acquisitions, and the 3rd acquisition was mobile security. And this was 2018, and it was quite a tumultuous time for me. I had a business partner that was very difficult to work with. The stress of the business was intense. I had employees across the world, and I was on lots of energy drinks. Wink, wink, don't do that. And lots of prescribed ADHD medicine just to help me with focus. And what ended up happening here is I was diagnosed with a pituitary brain tumor and later biopsied as a cortisol tumor wrapped in a cortisol cyst. So stress on top of stress, if you will. And I remember in spring of 2018, I don't know the exact day, I'm angry. I was a very angry individual at the time. And something had triggered me. And I went into the room to lay down on my back. And what had happened is I felt a surge of energy rush through me, and my back arched up, my stomach in the air, and like an upside down letter U. It was really, really intense. And it didn't last long. It lasted for about 2 minutes. And all I remember is something feeling like it was being pulled out of my abdomen area. Strangest thing. Never had that happen in my life. I had no spiritual background, guys. I mean, I didn't read a single book on this topic. I didn't have any religious background growing up. It was just an average guy, and doing everything he could to create a business, to create the life. And we talk about the idea of a profound near-death experience. It was profound, but it wasn't profound in the moment. I didn't go over and have an experience where I met someone or talked to someone or received knowledge, information that I needed to bring back. So metaphorically, you could think of the idea as the tunnel opening, but instead of me walking over and having a conversation, they came over to me. Initially, it was just one, and I didn't know this happened. The next day, I woke up a little more peaceful and a little more curious on what had just taken place. No other healings took place. I wasn't miraculously lifted in the air and, all this wonderful stuff. None of that, right? But all of a sudden, I found another passion burning inside of me. And for those of us that are entrepreneurs, we know that passion. That passion, when you get up, and this is all you're thinking about, is how do I move that needle a little forward? How do I get a little forward? I don't know where I'm going, but I know I got to go in a direction. So I started reading about what is a psychic. I didn't know. What is an aura? Oh, okay, can I do that? And no, the answer was no. Couldn't really do those things. Couldn't be a psychic. Couldn't do any of these things. But I ended up going to some QHHT sessions, the Dolores Cannon techniques. Interesting stuff came out of that. And in hindsight, I'm sure at the time I'm thinking, hey, my imagination's wild, right? That was neat. And I even went to some psychics who couldn't quite tell me what had happened, but every person I went to, every piece of information was another clue on the road to discovery of what took place. So, started reading books on energy healing and doing the little techniques that are in the books, right? And I'm like, wow, people are telling me I'm doing it. I'm like, yeah, okay, they're making me feel good. No confidence. Took Reiki, opened up the channels in the hands. That was interesting. I could start feeling energy again. I could start feeling crystals, which, by the way, I don't feel energy anymore, but it was a phase I was going through. And moving on, I ended up, saying to myself, I can't read these books and learn these things that I want to learn. The idea of me being a programmer, creating software, something I wanted to do, and I studied and I taught myself, but I'm thinking, man, can I even teach myself this stuff? I thought you had to be born with it, right? You had to have something already, right? But you can. You can absolutely teach yourself. You can absolutely open up those energy centers and come into your divine self. So I did hire folks. I'm like, teach me what this term multidimensionality means. And before they could do that, they had to heal my body. And they healed my body through herbs and this process and this detox and so on and so forth. But then we started journeying when we would drop into meditation. And I don't meditate, never really meditated, but I'd drop in and I'd ask a question, I'd go on an adventure. You name the place, right? Take me in the middle of Mars, whatever these things were, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I've never had an imagination so vivid in my life. I'm a computer programmer. We don't imagine anything, right? We're left brain. But all this was happening. And it was a unique opportunity. And what it ended up doing was installing more disbelief than confidence, right? I mean, am I paying these people to teach me these things so I can learn to be creative, or is something really happening? But then the healings really started taking place. And, I'm like, okay, so let me figure this out. And I started doing the healings, and they started being responsive. I started learning how to move into the body and see the things that were going on. Now, I'm not the kind of individual that sees the body like a doctor, right? And by the way, full disclosure, I'm not a doctor. I don't practice anything like that, right? I got a little, for those of you who get the audio, I got a little thing here, right? When I talk about healing, everyone needs to recognize no healer actually heals anybody. All we're doing is shifting the energy fields, or allowing the energy fields to move through, kind of opening the pathway so the water, the energy can flow out. So, it's important to recognize that I'm just a conduit. Now, moving back into the story real quick, as I'm moving through this journey of mine, I'm starting to really totally involve every minute of every day on this stuff and not my business. I lost complete interest in computers. 27 years, everything I've done, even emails a struggle. Like it's no longer in my repertoire. But what's happening is I started running into people that are saying, hey, you're a this, and hey, you're a that. We know how this works. Every psychic is a psychic. The psychics will help us understand what's going on. We internalize it. We determine if there's any truth or value to it, and then we use that to move forward in our journey. And one day this lady comes up to me. She says, you're a walk-in. I said, I'm a what? I'm a walk-in. So I'm Googling, reading. I'm like, oh, maybe I am. And lo and behold, about a month later, I ran across a podcast of a woman talking about walk-ins. Her name is Sheila Seppi. And got in the call with her. She says, yeah, absolutely you are. And you've got 13 in you. I'm like, oh, 13. Yeah. And she says there's more coming. So I was defined, at least in Sheila Seppi's book, Walk-ins Consciousness. I forgot the name of it exactly, top of the moment. Cosmology of the Soul, Walk-ins Cosmology of the Soul. She's like, listen, you're what they call a soul braid. So, Ken, I never went over as I explained. A traditional walk-in is somebody who leaves the body and another soul comes in. That's typically, it's called a soul exchange. And when that happens, there's complete disruption in the person's life. The new soul come in, disrupt everything because they're like, you know what? I don't know who you are. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm going to go find a new tribe to hang with, right? I mean, just lo and behold. But for me, none of that happened. And a soul braid is the idea of having all the different consciousnesses all weave together, not so they're operating as one, but so that the 13 can assist me in the growth I was going through. Now, they didn't talk to me. They weren't in my ear like a multiple personality disorder, but they did modify my body. And I would remember laying there in bed and I would feel these little tingles in my skin, in my legs, in my feet. Kind of like the idea of us falling asleep on our arm or something. We get those tingles. Not as intense. Over the year or two, it began intensifying. And what they were doing is they were modifying the physical structure of my body for a couple things. One, they wanted to merge with me, which I'll talk about in a minute. Two, they were increasing the ability of the cells of my body to hold high frequencies. So think of it like this. When you go to a healer or a channeler, what's happening is they are opening up an energetic pathway. The information is coming down and it's being delivered, through verbal actions, through light language, through channeling, right? For me, the information comes down and it gets implanted in my field. So imagine the idea of me working on one person, delivering a healing of a shoulder or whatever, and now that technology, that frequency, that program is in my field. So when I do my events and where people are showing up on this call now, they will start noticing shifts in their body because they're getting these programs that are already installed in my field. I don't have to call down that channel again to do the job again. So they're implanted, and that's why the field's 580 feet around. And in the events that I show up, I'll work on somebody's knee in the front row. It takes a minute or so, and then people in the back will be like, my knee's fixed too, right? I work on somebody's left hand, they're like, both hands are done. So the codes, the programming moves through everybody, and that's what's stored in my body. So let's continue talking about the idea of how this unfolded in my life and how we got to the number 22.
Can I interrupt you really quick?
You absolutely can.
Because I love how the information gets stored in your field. And I know when we do events, we go there with the intent and the purpose, right? To do healing, to help with healing. And I also want to comment that I love that you said that healers don't heal, that we really just hold the frequency of that safe space. Because I truly believe that's a misconception that people have. We're magical and gifted people, but we are not that magical and gifted to have somebody shift their own mindset towards healing. But okay, so I'll go back. Sorry, I digress. So you talk about your field, and I find this so fascinating. So let's take that someplace else. Like, let's say you're walking through the grocery store. And do you, how do I want to word this? Do you like when you go into that store, do those programs just kind of automatically get put into your field and then you could be walking around and I'm sorry, I'm getting this vision like you're lighting people up like they are, like they are.
That's exactly what's happening. And when I had when I came out of the near death, I started having these dreams. Now I don't do astral travel at all, right? I dream of my dog, whatever, right? So when I started getting these dreams, and I would see myself in crowds the size of Woodstock, hundreds of thousands of people, with the energy coming out of me and flowing through these people, right? I couldn't quite understand it. And then I'd get other ones with me walking down the street, and I would see, well, what I now know is the 22 and others coming out of me and moving through the crowd. And I had asked, a couple psychics about this, and they're like, yeah, this is what happens. As you move through, you heal people. And again, using the proper definition of healing, just doing the little bunny ear quotes there, I heal people. And this is what you're here for, is to work on millions and millions of people without all the drama, if you will, without all the stories, and without the time. The idea is to now, and they channeled this the other day, so we talk about, I'm going to digress just a little myself, we talk about the accelerated ascension, or the ascension process, right? It's now time to literally accelerate all of that. And to do that, the universe, literally the universe, needs the human to rise up in their energy and frequency. And to do that, we have to remove what I call the lead or the dead weight. So if you imagine a hot air balloon with the weights on the side, we need to remove those so we can all elevate. They, whoever they are, the universe wants it done now. It's the waiting, the slow progress that's been taking place, it's over. So me, and I'm sure there'll be others that show up, will begin doing this for the millions and the masses. We're taking all of that off. There's no more waiting. So all that technology is inside of me for everyone to use. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, absolutely. And it actually led me to another one. And we'll go back to what you were originally talking about, but so I love that you're talking about the universe wanting us to move things out very quickly. I just to share, I've been receiving a lot of information about how we're no longer stuck in that old paradigm of, it takes, you got to go through months and months and months of all of this healing. And then 10 years later, you're finally where you're at. And it really does excite me because I just tend to naturally work very quickly. I can't help it. My energy revs up and there it goes. Do you, I want to talk a little bit more about how quickly we really are starting to raise our vibration, and that healing can really happen like that. Like, I'm just curious, can you just maybe share your opinion or information that you have about that? Because I think it's important for people to understand this new paradigm shift, that you don't have to be stuck in this old energy anymore, that you really can. You really like healing's beautiful. So
Healing's beautiful. So
yeah.
there's a lot of energy flowing through me right now. So it's pretty strong topic for them. So I can feel it in my body. The think of it like this. And I try to use this metaphor for some folks to try to grasp the idea of a battery, a little small AA battery or something, right? It holds an electrical charge. And ultimately, the battery itself is the trauma, and the electrical charge is the emotion, the thing that keeps it alive inside of us. And, as you had mentioned, Kelly, it may have taken months and months to drain that battery, through your shadow work or through your sound healing or through these things, which, by the way, are huge, amazing, beautiful tools. So I want to make sure I don't poo-poo on that, because that's not what I'm doing. But the idea that I'm able to go in and metaphorically snap my fingers and take the complete charge out of that battery in an instant. When I say an instant, it's less than 3 seconds for me to go in and remove the charge. The battery itself, the trauma, I pull out in the remaining 2 seconds. So between 5 and 7 seconds, I'm pulling out the trauma that is associated with a condition in the body, right? So maybe it's the liver or the lungs, the arm, it could be your emotional body, it could be, implants that are around you, contracts, past lives, ancestors. I mean, I can go down the list, but all of these charges, I call energy interference, that are in your field, are going away. they're going away and they're going away and they're accelerating. Now, the beauty of this is the technology. I call it technology, the spiritual technology, if you will. The gifts that I have that are inside me aren't going to be limited to me. So let's talk about this next thing, which is on the list, the library of creation for a moment. So this field that I have around me that contains these codes also contains what the team calls the library of creation, also known as like the halls of Amente, which I didn't know anything about, right? I had to Google it. I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is. And, you know, it is rejuvenation, I believe, is just to sum it up, the halls of Amente. The library of creation, which can be found in the same middle astral plane as the Akashic Records, as the living library, it is the living library, you know, as these other things that are out there. This library of creation contains my entire tool set. So the ability for me to go in and reach into the animated movie and pull out the bubble of emotions is inside of this library. And I'm able to take people into the library, into these rooms that I create. Listen, the idea of being in a room is a lot better than being in outer space, right? So go to this planet and do this thing. Love it, but you know what? There's a more human way to do it. And you can go into these rooms and remove the childhood, as an example, the childhood trauma. I'll explain this real quick because it's kind of important. The idea of childhood trauma scares the crap out of people. We don't want to remember it. We spent our entire adult lives burying it, right? We don't want to know what actually happened. And a lot of us will go through life with childhood trauma, not actually realizing we had it because we had buried it so deep. But it's still in that battery with the charge, that trauma is still in the body. And these are the things that create the discomfort, the disease, the things that make us ill, right? Whether it be emotional, physical, or otherwise. So when you go into the room of childhood memories, which I did not name the room of childhood trauma because I wouldn't go in that room. I'm not going into the trauma room, screw that. But when you go in there, it's a beautiful white room, right? It's just white walls, white room. It has an open window to a blue sky and a little cardboard box on the floor. And you simply ask to see objects in the room that represent the childhood trauma, the childhood emotions, or the childhood behavior associated with, I'll make it up for dad, right? Show me everything in the room as an object. Now, what's beautiful is the room are going to present objects that make no sense to you. No sense, right? And to release this using my tool belt, you simply send that object appreciation, gratitude, and forgiveness. Now, you have no idea what you're doing in the back. And it's not that you're forgiving the incident, right? You are forgiving yourself for having to hang on to the burden of that. You're like, I know this no longer serves me. I'm giving a gratitude for what it gave me, and now it's time to release. As you do this to that object, it changes its shape into something else. You put it into the box and you release it. Now, here's the deal. This is an easy way for the human to work through the childhood trauma without having to remember a darn thing. Nothing. Right? For me, when I'm going in to do the childhood trauma, I will see a little stick figure come across the screen in my mind's eye with a little halo over the head. And I call the angels. I'm like, angels, I mean, one word, right? I don't even how to, and they come down, they take their hand in through the halo, they pull out the energy of that trauma. And what's left is the trauma bag, call it what you want. And I literally grab it and pull it out. And it's done. But that technology, the way I do it, is designed now so that anybody can go into those rooms. And there's rooms for past life. There's rooms for ancestral stuff, right? There's room for karma. There's room for the heal. There's a lot of different rooms when you go into these things. So not only am I working at Individual 101, but I'll be showing people how to do the work themselves. So millions and millions of people can do this like that.
Wow. Wow, I think that's beautiful. And I love that. I am also of the mindset that you don't have to go back and relive your childhood trauma. You already went through that. why go back and traumatize yourself again? And then now it's almost like you got to work through like the double trauma, right?
Yeah, right.
But I love I love that that has been created for you and that you share that, because as you were talking about it, I thought, oh, like I would love that process to go in and, you know, not again, not have to relive the trauma. And all I'm doing, like, and I don't want to say all I'm doing, but I'm looking at these objects that are very objective. They have no charge to me, but they're, you know, through the process, it's healing me.
Hmm.
And oh, and I love it. That's really beautiful what you do. So
Yeah, and they'll continue. The rooms will continue to grow, and as I need them, right?
mhm,
So back into my journey itself. In December this year, 11 months ago, whatever the number is, my higher self stepped into my body, and that was one of the most profound moments that I can viscerally, is that the word? Remember, in my body. I got the call to go into meditation, and that doesn't happen often, but okay, I'm gonna do what you say. And I sit down in my chair, and I can start feeling the energy coming down to the ground. And then I realized I couldn't move my body. I was literally stuck in position, and I wasn't struggling, right? Because I wanted this. I kind of got the message a couple weeks earlier that something big was about to happen. We get those little insight stuff, and he's coming in, and I start asking him a lot of questions about what is he doing, how's he doing it, what's the purpose, and he's like, now's not the time for that, and he shut off my ability to ask questions, my ability to think or to ponder. That one thing we train all our lives for in meditation, absolute quiet. Well, that's what I had, but not by choice. And I just remember, like, really, is it this blissful? And so, but I'm still able to monitor and see and feel and understand what's happening, but without the dialogue. So, you know, that was not only physically profound, but the one thing that I was hoping would never happen happened shortly after. So, back in the story up, we talk about soul exchanges. When they come into the body, they disrupt their lives. They get rid of the family, they get rid of the relationships, they get rid of the job because they don't resonate anymore. They don't understand it. Well, this is what happened about 3 weeks later. The team in me and the higher self is like, you're going to get a divorce. I'm thinking, oh shit, no, like this is not what I had planned for. But beautiful marriage. So there wasn't turmoil, there wasn't disruption, there wasn't any of that, right? And I had built an incredibly beautiful life. Three entrepreneurs. Life was really, really good. And they're like, no, this is happening. And ultimately, I have to do my journey solo because of the incredible oddness of what's happening to me. So right after that, I put the house up for sale, sold all my vehicles, sold all my belongings, and I was in Mexico by mid-March with 3 suitcases to my name, and that's it. And I've been in Mexico, about 5 or 6 months I was in Mexico, doing inner work. I wasn't taking many sessions. I wasn't doing any groups. Literally, Spirit's like, guess what? You gotta get income either. Enjoy the ride. No sessions, no income, no family, no nothing. So, when you talk about literally giving up everything in your life to do the thing you have to do, isn't that what an entrepreneur does? And here I am now doing it on the side of consciousness or spirit, right? Totally in it. And over the period of the time in Mexico, 9 more came in, which brought the number to 22. And then in July, I landed in Tulum for several months. And I was there for just a few days, and the team's like, you're going to do Cambo and Bufo. And I don't like plant medicines. I enjoy a glass of wine once in a while, but I don't like plant medicines. And they had me do that, and it was very smooth. The experience was incredible. Didn't have the side effects. I've heard about some side effects with some folks, that aren't prepared and aren't ready. But ultimately, the reason they had me do both within 2 hours of each other is they wanted to open up the cellular structure in the body from the cambo, and then they needed to get my ego out of the way with the bufo so that the 22 could merge into the cellular structure of the body. So previously known as the soul braid, as I mentioned earlier in the recording, I'm now a soul infusion. We all operate as one collective in my body. And the difference is, imagine having your team, the one you connect to, always talking in your ear. Or out, sometimes I'll see them to the right of me, and they have my personality, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But they tell me, listen, we have your personality because we don't want you to think that you have a personality disorder. Right? Imagine having 22 of them talking to you in different voices, a different texture, in different contexts, right? It would be very disruptive to the human period. So as one, they show up to my right, but I get frustrated with them because I'm like, why aren't you talking to me? And they laugh at me a little bit. They say, Ken, we could talk to you, but isn't it faster if you just know? They said, we're in your body. How much quicker can it be? Everything you need's there. And what I'm learning is that every action I'm taking, they are a part of. The reason they had me go through the divorce and eliminate every material thing in my life, including when I got to Mexico, I got new clothes, right? Everything material had to go because they were doing what they called the Great Reset. They removed all my likes and all my dislikes. They reset the human experience. So that now as my frequency rises with the 22, I'm going to experience life at a higher vibrational state. So this makes sense, right? It didn't, but it does. So, the one thing I have learned about this experience is that I'm going to be ever shifting and changing. Not only do I heal people, again, as a healer, the definition of a healer, but I also activate people. So those who have done the work, those who are ready for their next experience in their spiritual path, they'll find themselves in front of me. And I can't tell you how many people have learned light language in a matter of moments just sitting across from me. These are the things that happen for them, new gifts and new things. The tool set that humanity has right now, and has always had for all these years, are being augmented and upgraded. The idea of Reiki 3, well, there's a Reiki 4 coming if it's not already out there. All the tool sets that we have to accelerate all this trauma release are happening. And it's not just me, right? I'm not taking credit for anything. They're out there. So get ready. And the final word on that real quick here is when you go out and you learn a modality, make it your own. Make it your own spin. There's no, you are a divine, unique individual, and the gifts that you have should be interwoven with everything that you learn and do. So go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, you saw me. I was like, yes, make it your own. Again, I think we get really hung up on like, so and so does it this way, so I have to do it this way, and I got to do it this way. And all it is it's just information so you can feel in and resonate with what works for you, and then you make it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is where your unique gift or your our talent or whatever you want to call it comes from. So I'm a huge proponent of that. I'm like, don't do things like I do things like you do.
Yep.
All I'm just giving you is just information. And I think putting that messaging out takes a lot of pressure off of people to have to do this or have to be this or have to do it this way. Like, just do it your way.
Think of it like this. There's 8 billion people on the planet, or whatever the latest and greatest number is, right? There's no one solution for everybody. The universe needs uniqueness everywhere, because you, as an individual on the call listening, are going to show up in front of somebody who needs exactly the beauty that you created. So you have to allow yourself to create your own little way, because there's somebody, and a lot of somebodies, who need your beautiful magic, not the one that you were trained on.
Yes. And that's what people are magnetized to. is that it like that beautiful magnet, not again, not the modality you were trained on. It's your energy. And so, and that's where I always say like that is where all your magic is in your own energy. So why would you not want to use that to bring beautiful people to connect with and just be with and create that community of healing. So thank you. I'm so glad that you said that. Um, you mentioned all the modalities are really starting to upgrade, right? Because we have to we have to shift with the shift, right? Um, and then we talked about just the acceleration that's happening. Um, it sounds like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that part of that acceleration, because I was going to ask you, like, how do you feel like this acceleration is going to affect other entrepreneurs in their business, right? If we come from the old mindset of it's got to take this many sessions, right? Um, but it sounds like some of that help is coming in with I'm going to say the new acceleration of the modalities.
It is. So I'm here for a lot of things. And by the way, just for the record, I wasn't chosen. Like, I'm not some special person. This is my job. Literally my job. And I show up every lifetime to do this job in a gazillion places. And that probably is a real number. I don't even know. Right? But the idea, the understanding, the preconceived notion of being broke to be awoke, and I don't mean to use the political term there, but right, it's gone. It's gone. You don't have to subscribe to the idea I need to be in service, but I need to scrap change. It's gone. And I'm part of that message, and I'm part of that understanding is that consciousness is a frequency of energy, it's a frequency of money, it's a frequency of abundance, and it's going to come and come and come. The universe is done with the idea of karma. It's done with the idea that you need to suffer to serve. Close the book. New chapter.
I love it. I'm like, enough said,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, like we really are we're shifting into this higher vibrational frequency. And I'm excited about it because I often sat there and I would sit there and ponder and be like, well, why do we have to do this? Like, why does it have to be this way? When I've always, and I'm the person that everything is possible. I'm all, why can't we just get there? And
Well, what if you change that to say we are there? And as a creator, you're able to jump into the quantum and do that. And that's what I do. Like, I don't ponder, well, how do I fix it? I just fix it.
I was just
So
gonna
we're shifting the way that we work up there to the now, to the now, to the now, to the now.
yeah, like just do it.
Just do
Uh,
it.
Often, like, so to share a story, when I first started working, people would come to me and they would talk, they share their stories. And I understand that sharing stories can also be very therapeutic, very cathartic. And I would look at them and I'd be like, well, if that's what you want, I'm like, just do it. And of course it didn't go over very well, but in my mind, I was like, you like, because for me, I see timelines all the time. And I'm like, if you want that, just move over to it. Like it's there, it's yours. Just grab it, bring it in. It's yours. Um, so I did have to learn some adaptation as I was working, but then now as my frequency raises, I'm like, no, just do it.
Just
Just
do
do
it.
do
And
it.
they're telling me now this is going to become pretty common for most people as you rise in your own frequency, your ability to navigate, your desired experience to become easier and easier and easier. It's just a natural evolution of the human that's happening. So jump on the bus and let's do it.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to be on that bus.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ken, the information you shared today, so amazing, so profound. I feel like there was a lot of really good messaging in it for people to hear and absorb and really integrate that, to step away from the old and really start stepping into this new energy that's very exciting. I call it's exhilarating to me when I feel into it. So thank you so much. And with that being said, you are offering a free gift to all of the viewers. I'm so grateful for that. You are offering a 20% discount coupon. It's towards your sessions with the coupon code of being healing in all caps. Would you like to talk more about that so they know what they're receiving?
Yeah, there's a couple things here. So the sessions I do are 25-minute sessions and 55-minute sessions. Do not sign up for a 55-minute session. We'll be playing cards at the end of it, looking for things to talk about. You can get almost everything you need done in less than 25 minutes. Okay? So the coupon code, when you go to register, it'll ask you for a coupon, all caps, if you will, HEALING, healing. Now, also, I do groups every other week, and I'll be starting to do them around November, twice a week, different types of groups. But these groups will take you into the library of creation so you can have that experience. I will clear your field, blow open your chakras. I will remove any things that shouldn't be in there, and as well as all the physical healing that takes place. So literally you get about an hour and 15 minutes of a pretty intense session with the group, right? And then, depending on how many people are in there, sometimes I'll just start calling on people and working on them as well as I can, right? So the other thing is, if you do go to my website at kenlloydofficial.com and you sign up for the newsletter, there'll be a free download. It's a 6-minute audio light language that will clear your energetic field. And actually, they're telling it also balance out the emotional body. So when you're having those days and those moments and you're feeling creepy crawlies, pop in the light language.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for offering that to all of our viewers. And if you loved everything like I did that Ken spoke about today, and you really resonate with him and you want that free gift, that free gift link will be down below. It will also be in his featured speaker center. So there are several places that you can get it. Please connect with Ken. He's amazing. So I'm like,
Are you ready?
yes. And I was just gonna, do you want me to introduce it, or do you just want to go into it?
I'm just going to go into it because there's a lot of energy in the chest right now. So there is a gift for everybody on the call, and this is for replays as well. Listen to it as much as you want. And before I begin, first of all, many of you will already feel a shift in your frequency, whether it be your emotions or your body, as we move through this. So even without light language, the frequencies, the coding is in all of my words. I mean, remember, the 22 are in my body. Their frequency is coming through with everything, a single thing I do. But I'm going to go ahead and share some light language now. And I simply ask this, for those of you that are able to and are not driving, just close your eyes and just gently breathe in. And when you breathe in light into the body. And you're going to exhale things that don't serve you. You can move this light around the body with intention to work on certain areas of your body that are in pain or discomfort or has conditions. And that's all you need to do. Koreamapa aliata ati 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 di ati ishoto papa aliati ni alia. Koriko papaya tokunia to diata padia tokuto apapa alia to papa shuto pusho tosia nia ma alia lokoto diapa alia. Ka nia to shoto po alio nia papa lia dia dare ke dia tate chichupukutu sharia mapa alia to katiapa o mama alia nia na alia nia ta nia terio to apa nia te dia ta nia da nia to sherbori to pe to dia ta shirikuto dia mia chichukuto papa yoko ta apa alia di kiti Korea to be a new no mo me up a movie ni to the a lot of the ale ani at ma ali ani adi di share to pokuti ani ata pa alia ka ani adi si ali adi si di to sha papa no mo ma mo mi ali aki 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 asko aski ki aski ta asi to papa papa adi ata ma ali ani ali cha to ti ha papa ma ani to Shuriapa Pieto Mu'a Kali Shito. You can come out of that when you're ready.
Oh, thank you.
So I will tell you this: there is some human DNA clearing and activation with that as well. So one of the things the team does just by default is they remove trash in the DNA of the human, and they also begin turning on the ascension coding in the human DNA as a standard. You know, you're showing up for an oil change, you're going to get the ascension codes. You know, whatever you want to use. But just so your listeners know, when I'm doing that, I'm looking at my lips like, how are you moving? You know, I'm thinking about my laundry. I'm wondering if I checked my email. Like they're doing it. And I'm checked out. So I'm like, are you guys done yet?
Oh, I love it. And I'm going to tell you, I felt all of that. That was incredible. Oh, Ken, thank you again so much for being here, sharing your gifts, giving us that gift of light language. It was such a pleasure to have you on Stories of Resilience, and I'm excited. I'm excited about what's to come. I'm going to tell you, I'm leaving this interview so hopeful and like I said, just very excited. So, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you for allowing me on your platform to share it with the world.
Thank you. And also a huge thank you to all of our viewers that are on this call today. Thank you so much. I have so much gratitude for you, Ken, so much gratitude for our viewers and so much love. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.